Medical establishment was very much for the use of pharmaceuticals to solve any problem. The dietary type of medicine was nowhere to be found. Medical school works in a total different direction. So we found ourselves like being almost on the wrong side of the fence. I mean, there are times where you feel like you're doing something really bad. And what happened is we started working together, again, 1976, and we were working for some time only to find that it was very difficult to have a place where we could do what we wanted, like dietary management or enemas or simple things like that, bed rest, you name it. So we decided that the only way to do it was to have our own facility.
Well, we are offering programs here based on integrative therapies. Integrative therapies means treatments that includes conventional programs, but we are focusing more in the natural aspect of healing. We are offering these programs as an alternative for conventional programs that are focusing more in the radical aspects of like chemotherapy, radiation for cancer patients. We do not treat only cancer cases here. We have basically two main groups of conditions treated here, the cancer conditions and the non-cancer conditions. So we are gonna offer always a program that is going to be tailored according to the patient's needs, because we always feel that we don't have two patients alike. Our philosophy is to work around programs that do no harm to the patient's body. We know that some patients are coming in advanced cancer conditions. We know that the patient is not able to eat properly. So despite offering a diet that is based on organic meals, juices, plenty of good things, sometimes the patient they don't have the desire to eat properly because they're very ill. So in that kind of particular patients, we're going to use a program intravenously that address the nutritional part. This is very important. The nutrition is the foundation of this program.
Well, here what I basically do is receive a patient, just the regular work that a doctor would do. You know, interview the patient, do the medical history, physical examination, get an update on each patient, find and investigate as much as I can from each patient, so I have an idea on the disease they are currently suffering. Treat the patient as an individual, not as a disease. That's the key for success with each patient, to see them as an individual.
My name is Ola Morten Eidem, and I'm here for my heavy food intolerances. It comes from chronic fatigue syndrome. It's exactly 2 years since I was here last time.
I've come to IBC because about 6 months ago I have a cancer blood marker that started to increase, and this was from 8 years ago of being cancer-free from multiple myeloma, which is an incurable bone cancer. My doctors failed to diagnose me for over a year, and the cancer was rampant in my system. And I did it here and agreed to a stem cell transplant, which I prayed my way through and got a miracle during the stem cell transplant. And I was cancer-free.
Now, we have built in our bodies a number of elements that are precisely put in there to fight cancer. Okay, this is what we call the cancer suppressor genes, but they can be obliterated also, and they can be obliterated by what we eat, by what we do, etc., etc. People think that genes are fixed, like on granite. No, they're not. They have the capacity to show themselves or to go shy. The difference is, what are you putting in your body? What are you doing with your body? Are you helping those genes, the good genes, to manifest and suppress the ones you don't want, which is something that the body can naturally do? Or are you going to do the opposite? And unfortunately, many people are doing the opposite. People say, how come a cancer program can be useful if I have chronic fatigue or if I have arthritis? Because all of them have the same foundation. All of them are chronic degenerative diseases, chronic inflammatory diseases, bottom line, in the beginning of the disease. We have all these problems to deal with. So what we have to do is take care of them. Now, I have over 35 years doing this. And the more I go and the more I treat people, I realize that by going that way, you create something which is very good. If you gave me one tool, I wouldn't choose any medication at all. I would choose this methodology to help people that are sick because it works with everybody. And I have seen it work with everybody. And what happens is, if you put that person that has been completely neglected, and it's not a matter of money. I have seen people that have millions of dollars that are completely neglected, malnourished. I have seen people, American people, that I know they have a nice house, that they know they have several cars, that they know very well to do, with malnourished problems that I would expect to find in Africa. See? Because we are eating completely without any guidance. It is really becoming dramatic. And again, we think that if anything goes wrong, the doctor will correct it. So we don't have to worry about it. But what happens is, every time you give the body a chance to build up, to recuperate, in one word, to heal, then you see a lot of things happening. I've seen people that come in here very sick, and 2-3 days later they start feeling different and so forth. They tell me, the family tells me, oh wow, doctor, this is wonderful, what did you do? I fed the person, I hydrated the person, I put him in bed rest. What is food? Food is what God provided. It's in the fields, it's in the farms, it's all these places. Okay? As long as you bring that food into your table, you're going to be okay. Now, if you put a factory between that thing and your table, then you're eating food. You're not eating food anymore. Okay? A simple example, milk. We used to drink milk, period. Now, even milk has different types of milk. Low fat, 2%, this. What does that mean? Then they sell you the other part of the milk separately. They sell you like yogurt or cottage cheese or different parts of the milk. So what they're doing is they're selling you the milk several times. But by making all these changes to the milk, they are damaging its nutritional content and value. Like, for example, the fats of the milk have important factors that can prevent diabetes. If we're going to drink low-fat milk, chances are bigger for us to develop diabetes than if we don't. I always tell people, I have a very simple rule, which is my 100-year rule. If the food you're about to eat was available 100 years ago, go ahead. If it's not, think twice about it. If you have to read the label, well, think about it. You shouldn't have to read it. And many times I take an apple or an orange and I tell people, here, tell me how many calories, how many fats, how much cholesterol. They say, well, it doesn't say anything. Well, then eat it. If it doesn't have a label, you might be able to eat it.
Number one cause of disease is cardiovascular problems. Why? Because of the lifestyle, the diet, stressful lifestyle and stress. And actually those are diseases that we bring on ourselves. the cardiovascular problems, metabolic syndrome, weight problems, and high blood pressure. Those are the most common. And secondly, the cancer. Metabolic syndrome is a failure of it's like a systemic organ failure to present a proper response to all of the aggressions that we assess to our body, like bad diet, stress, lack of exercise. It's an abuse on the body. You know, even people that smoke, that alcohol abuse and all that, those situations that are probably daily routine on a lot of people, and it shouldn't be. You know, terrible diets and not being active, and letting yourself into stress, very stressful situations.
We're using a lot of chemicals. Okay, we're using hormones. We're using antibiotics. We're using a lot of very damaging things. Not to talk about genetically modified foods that we still have to see what's happening. But it's funny, we're not using rats to check it, we're using humans to check it.
Metabolic syndrome by itself is just a combination of things. It's a person that is overweight, that overweight produces something related to chronic fatigue, high blood pressure, problems with sugar control, and the combination of those things will, if this persists on the long run, it will produce some, you name it, you name the disease. It will give you anywhere from a heart attack to a cardiovascular event to cancer. There is a link of infection and cardiovascular disease. You know, there is there's been a lot of research regarding the atherosclerotic plaque, the plaque that forms in the within the blood vessels. What starts that? What starts that? Is it really just the diet and the abuse, or is it's that plus bacterial or viruses? There's been a link between certain bacteria, microorganisms that will produce damage to the blood vessel, and from there the plaque formation would start. But that's something that we never take very much in account. We just treat the symptom and we don't go into the cause.
If you're using pro-inflammatory substances in your diet and chemicals and smoking and going to bed very late and having 3 hours of bed rest at night, etc., you are actually damaging everything that should be taken care of you. See, we take the body for granted. We think that our body should be in very good shape, and we even think, we truly believe, that if anything goes wrong, we go to the doctor and the doctor is going to fix it because he knows how. Well, they don't know how, you see. And I'm not saying this in any aggressive way or anything like that. Your doctor doesn't know how to fix certain problems, which unfortunately are the most frequent ones, which is chronic degenerative disease, and that includes cancer. Your doctor is going to give you the bad news, you have a disease, and then the worst news, you're going to take this for the rest of your life. Because I don't know. That's the part they don't say, but implicitly tell you, because I don't know how to cure you. You're going to take this water pill for the rest of your life, or this for your heart for the rest of your life, or something for your high blood pressure for the rest of your life. I mean, and those are the good ones. You could be diabetic, you could be with cancer, and those are the really bad news. And they're going to tell you that they're going to use this and that and the other thing, which has probably 80% chances of being very toxic and 20% chances of helping you. I mean, people in their anguish, for me, for one reason, I've seen people that come here to the hospital that have a week with no sleep. See? And they sleep doze off every now and then, but they don't really have a true deep sleep. So they start destroying protein. They start doing a lot of wrong things. And when they feel themselves protected, and then when they feel themselves that something good is happening, then they start working in a different way. Hydration, as simple as that. See? And I always said this also simple example. If I gave you a plant, I would say, look, here's this pot, has this plant. It's very nice. It doesn't look good or not very good, but I'll give it to you anyway. So I hope you can take care of it. You're going to get it in your house, and the first thing you do is you're going to touch the dirt to see if it's well watered. And you might discover that not only is well watered, but it's overwatered, which is a problem. And you might say the leaves are too yellow because it doesn't get enough sunlight. And they look a little bit wilted because it doesn't have any fresh air. So you're going to look for the location and watering system to bring it back to health. And to health is going to come back. It's exactly what we should do with people. And that's exactly what we do. Every time we see a patient for the first time, we go, for the patient it might look like a very regular medical admission because we are going to take a medical history, we're going to find out about your family, about your past medical problems, we're going to do a physical examination, we're going to do laboratory workup, but in the laboratory workup we're going to look for different things. We're going to look specifically for immune dysfunction, we're going to look for other important functions of the body, for free radical activity, how toxic your body might be, etc. And with all that, we're going to start to work with supplementation, with intravenous hydration, intravenous alimentation, or feeding, because we can tell that that person is missing a lot of things. And nowadays, thank God, we have full nutritional, intravenous nutritional treatments available that can bring people back to a very good situation in no time. In 48, 72 hours, people start feeling a lot of energy, feeling a lot better, which has a very important psychological effect.
We have a product called BioCare, which is a product with a physiological formula of chlorine, similar to hydrogen peroxide, which we use on the patients twice a day or sometimes 3 times a day. And that seems to work very well. We very rarely use antibiotics.
We have a program called parenteral nutrition support. And that means the infusion through central line of different nutrients like amino acids, essential fatty acids, and good carbohydrates. As part of our nutritional support, we are going to use vitamin C, which is an excellent antioxidant, glutathione that helps the liver to recover, antioxidants as well for digestive enzymes. The idea of this program is to make the patient's body more alkaline. After being treated with large doses of chemotherapy or radiation, we understand that the patient likely will have more acidic conditions into their bodies. More free radicals, at the same time more free radicals bring more accelerated cancer activity. So the idea of this program is to make that cancer process more slow.
First, we need to be sure if the patient, the hemoglobin levels is all right. I mean, need to be minimum 12 grams of hemoglobin. And then we evaluate the patient absolutely with the rest. Usually we use the autologous, and then doesn't matter if the patient has any infection, any virus infection, bacterial infection, because they are the same cells, and then they don't have any problem. Usually the patient comes here for a 2 weeks program, where we prepare the patient without the detoxification program, where we are using the chelation, we are using the ozone therapy, we change the diet. And 2 days, 3 days, depending on the patient, we try to stimulate the bone marrow by fasting, I mean liquid diet. At that moment, when we are starving, the bone marrow is going to try to produce what happened with the body, and then it's going to help to produce more stem cells, more red or white cells. We have the oxygen, where we are able to change from O2 to adding an atomos by the electricity charge to produce the O3, that is the ozone. And the good things, bonds of the ozone is they are going to work like anti-inflammatory, like analgesic. That's good for try to kill virus, fungus, bacteria. And very good things is to help the circulation. How we are going to help on the circulation is going to get better quality or better flexibility of the red cells, and then the circulation will be everywhere much more easy, and then all the nutrients will be able, and all the therapies is going to be able to be on the right place.
We had received this really bad news from the oncologist. We were still in a state of shock, and she shuffled us over to the chemo department and set us up. That was on a Thursday, and she set us up for chemo on Tuesday. And so we went back home, and the next day, which was Friday, he woke up and said, "I'm not doing chemo. I'm not doing it." So, and a week later, we're here.
And I have seen what people in the United States and elsewhere would call miracles. I even witnessed a person being brought in on a gurney at one point, and apparently she had tumors throughout her entire body, and she could no longer get up and actually move conveniently. Within 3 weeks, she was up and going out and shopping.
I read a book by Gary Null, and there was a chapter in there about Dr. Stanislaw Burzynski, and in it said that he does extremely well with lymphoma and brain tumors. So we went to the Burzynski clinic in 1994, and she had it on her face subcutaneously, down her neck, and it was also on her spleen. She had various tumors. Within about 5 weeks, she went from really looking pretty bad to looking normal. But what I wanted to say is my mother's like a walking alternative and complementary medicine cabinet. What she did was she controlled and just managed her cancer for the next 40 years. She ended up dying at 89. She was diagnosed when she was 52, but she didn't die from cancer. She died from some mistakes they made at the hospital where she went in for a bladder infection, believe it or not. And she absolutely did not die from the cancer.
We are going to promote the use of hyperbaric oxygen treatments and ozone therapies, because that kind of therapy helps make the body more alkaline and helps the patient's recovery, be more fast. In the non-cancer conditions, of course, the program will be similar, but will be in a more short term, like 10 to 14 days. And of course, based on that particular condition, we can use the use of a stem cell therapy that can help reprogram or reset the damaged cells, promote the production of endocrine, the neuroendocrine system to function well, as well, like diabetes and other conditions like hypothyroidism, etc. Patients like with that they had the diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia, we understand that very frequently a virus is associated or behind these conditions. So the programs that we're using, instead of using tons of antibiotic therapy, what we're going to use is to use antioxidants and natural programs to minimize or reduce the viral attack against the healthy organs. This is in particular important for patients with hepatitis C, Lyme disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, in which is documented the presence of a virus.
Once we start the patient into the cleansing program, the probiotics, the colon being a little bit more regular or functional, and the IVs, and we also use these sessions with the oxygen sessions, all of which it's in a way like cleansing or cleaning the body, or producing like almost an aseptic area, which is probably impossible to do. But we try it. And who would believe that after a few days with that, a couple of weeks, the patient is feeling better? There's really no way of explaining it, but because we don't have like the tests, because sometimes there's no change on the test. The change in the patient, we have the live blood analysis in which you can see definite changes, and the important thing is that the patient feels better.
Cancer cells are human, but they're not normal. They have a lot of problems. That's why they have problems with high amounts of vitamin C, high amounts of vitamin A, and heat, of course, is one of these things. Oxygen, all these things damage cancer cells because they have all these faulty metabolic systems. So the heat is going to impose a big burden on them, because every time your temperature goes up, your metabolic rate goes way up, even tenfold. You start breathing a lot, your heart goes a lot faster, enzymes are a lot more active, blood flow is greatly increased, oxygenation to all the tissues is greatly increased, and the normal body is ready for it.
One of the main reasons I came here was to build my immune system. But the secondary reason I came here was to jeopardize any cancer that's in my body. And I've done a lot of research, and IBC offers hyperthermia. And that's raising the body's core temperature to 107 degrees. It's called extreme hypothermia. There's mild hypothermia and there's regular hypothermia, but IBC is going to take me to extreme hypothermia, 107, maybe even 108 degrees. And one of the unique things about the way they do it here at IBC, they do it internally. Some other clinics around the world, they do it externally. They heat the body from the outside in. IBC heats it from the inside out. And it's the core temperature that you have to get up. Cancer cells are weaker cells than our normal everyday cells, and they cannot withstand the heat. So you get them in a weakened state, and if you really crank up the heat, you actually kill them. They can't coexist. As a preparation for that, IBC has been giving me intravenous nutrients, vitamin C and selenium, and they're giving me DMSO, and they're giving me a magnitude of other things, antioxidants and magnesium, and we're building my immune system. In addition to that, you know, I believe in the whole oxygen therapy thing, and another reason I came here. They do ozone treatment here, they do hyperbaric treatment here, where you get into a tube and you put under pressure, and it forces the oxygen into your bloodstream. So you oxygenate the blood. There's two things that cancer really hates, every kind of cancer. It hates oxygen, and it hates alkalinity. Keeping the immune system built up for whatever therapy that you decide to do is your first and foremost priority in fighting cancer.
My name is Teresa Taines, and my official title is patient coordinator, but throughout the 20 years that I've been working here, my responsibilities have grown from answering phones and emails and help to coordinate all of the patients, the prospective patients as we call them, that want to come here and answering all of their questions and putting their mind at ease and making their reservations. We pick people up at, airport, Amtrak station, wherever. They come from all over the world. Many use us as a last resort. They've already been through all of the conventional with devastating results, and this is their hope. it's many their last hope, but certainly hope is what we have here, and a lot of them are very happily surprised at the great improvement as to their quality of life.
That's one of the big things that I really appreciate about BioCare. My family stays with me in my room. They eat with me. There's no charges. They get the same respect that I do and courtesy. So family is extremely important, and also the fact that we get the opportunity to talk with other patients. Hey, what's working for you? What happened to you? We learn from one another. We share insights. And I like the ability to interact with other patients and the safety and security of my family.
Open up your mind, look for answers, look for alternatives. The written books of many years ago don't have all the answers. There are some people who are investigating new things, new alternatives, new medications, new medicines, and new ways to treat illnesses. So look around, look in internet, talk to other people. Sometimes other people have new ideas or better ideas and they can guide you. So open up your mind. Be brave to look for more solutions, to more choices. Because sometimes we don't have any choices. We think we don't. We do. Sometimes our doctors don't give us the choices. We have to look for them. Just be open.